Next up, we go to Scott in Plymouth, Minnesota. Hey, Scott, welcome to the program.
Hi, George. Thanks for having me.
Sure thing.
Say, since you're on the subject, I just wanted to inquire with you particularly if you've ever had a show about Dr. Max Gerson.
Oh, my dear, Max Gerson and his daughter Charlotte's my friend.
Pat, you know them all.
San Diego, yes. Wonderful, wonderful. He was a wonderful man, and it's a shame how they went after him. But, see, cancer cells, as the doctor that was on last week said, that we all have some cancer cells.
We do, don't we?
Yes, and so the thing is, the reason cancer is multiplying so fast in America, that we are using so many chemicals with all the foods we're getting. They're highly preserved. A friend of mine, husband, was president of the Undertakers, and at their convention, he said, we now do not have to use as many embalming fluids because they're already preserved.
Oh, gosh.
Americans, you see? But Max Gerson was wonderful, wonderful. Thank you for calling.
What else, Scott? Anything else?
Yes, I just wanted to say, I've been familiar with Max Gerson for a few years now, and I've encountered people who were diagnosed with cancer or had other health issues, and I just want to say one interesting thing I've found is that people who haven't heard of these things before are very closed off to the idea that somehow juicing or eating healthy or doing these holistic approaches could even work. And I've found that people who have tried to help and convince that if they did these things, they might feel better, they won't listen.
Well, Scott, I tell you what, unfortunately, a lot of people are turned off. A lot of people, they thought my father was crazy years ago. What do you think of that?
Well, he was on the cutting edge, Patricia.
Well, my dear, and he was the originator of health food stores and started the first health spa, first health restaurant. Oh, they said, that man's crazy. You can eat anything, drink anything. Oh, Arthur Godfrey told me, he said, when he was 80 years old, he said, Patricia, if I had listened to your father, I would have never smoked. And I asked God to forgive me.
He'd still be on the air.
I got smoking.
Yeah, did George Burns ever work with your dad?
No, George Burns loved his cigars.
He did, but he lasted a long time.
Yes, he did. But by the way, we have the Beach Boys, and they sang today at the President
Ronald Reagan's anniversary.
Yeah. Yes, and they've been our followers now for 35 years. And I have even young Katy Perry.
She's a great singer. Isn't she great?
Yes, she is.
If George Burns didn't smoke, he could have lived to 200.
Well, he was amazing. But anyway, so you are what you eat, drink, breathe, think, say, and do. See, this is it. Everybody, they can clean up their lifestyle, clean up their stuff. We realize what they eat and drink, walks and talks tomorrow. And we have testimonies galore, George, that are just like Clint Eastwood, the Beach Boys. The Beach Boys have followed us now for almost 40 years. What do you think of that?
I love that.
And we have, guess what? We have Cloris Leachman, who will be 85, Dancing with the Stars. She got rid of her asthma. We have Paul Winter, who started the Garden Burger. He got rid of his asthma when he was 16, following our book, Miracle of Fasting. I fast every Monday and the first 3 days of every month.
Do you take vaccines? I don't.
I never have had a vaccine. I've never had a shot. I've never had an aspirin. And when they followed, believe me, the Bragg Healthy Lifestyle, you don't need those things.
I take an 82 milligram aspirin a day because...
No, I don't. I go into all those details. You know, people can call my number 800-446-1990. And George, bookstores are going out of business. Barnes & Noble closed in Santa Barbara. Borders closed.
They may go bankrupt, Barnes & Noble.
George, 800-446-1990 is my toll-free number, 24 hours a day. And George, the bookstores are going out of business.
I know. Amazon isn't, though. That's one bookstore. Those internet sites are strong.
Thank God for Amazon. But I want you to know that your health is your wealth. And I love the Lord. He walks with me and He talks with me. And guess what? I went with Art Bell and Ramona on a 7-day cruise to Alaska.
You went on that one. I remember
13 years ago.
Yeah, I remember that.
And I was the first one to show him pictures of crop circles. He didn't believe them. And I said, listen, I just came from England. I said, here are the pictures. And I gave them to them.
That's funny.
And I've laid in new crop circles. And I've seen a UFO.
I've seen two.
Well, I mean,
finally.
That's right. And so it's exciting. Life is exciting, and life is beautiful.
I like your attitude, Patricia.
Well, I love the Lord. 3 John 2, dear friend, may you prosper in good health as well as your soul to prosper. And that's what we teach. Bragg.com is my website, and they can see me dancing. I went to Jack LaLanne's, guess what, Christmas party.
What kind of dancing do you do?
I do all kinds of dancing. I've danced on the Lawrence Welk show with Lawrence Welk.
Who is he?
Lawrence Welk.
Who's Lawrence Welk?
Oh, he's fabulous. Lawrence Welk had the show.
Oh, that's the guy with the bubbles when he'd come out.
That's right.
That was 100 years ago, Patricia.
No, it doesn't make any difference, dear. I feel like I'm.
Tell me you danced with Black Eyed Peas, and I'd understand that.
Well, I danced with let's see, Fred Astaire, Gene Kelly, Bob Hope, Frank Sinatra, and guess what? See, I grew up in guess right near NBC in Hollywood.
Oh, you knew them all.
And my dad was nutritionist to the Hollywood stars, Gloria Swanson, all the old timers.
Let's go to Angie in Woodway, Texas, east of the Rockies. Angie, you're on with Patricia Bragg on Coast to Coast.
Good evening.
Hi.
I was wondering, number one, what you thought about stevia.
Stevia.
And,
okay.
Yeah, that sweetener from the vine.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, the stevia is wonderful, Angie. Angie, listen, it's an herb, and for people that are diabetics, you can use it, stevia, Stevia. And occasionally, I might use stevia, just a little pinch of it, or you can get it in the drops, and it's very inexpensive. A little bottle of it will last you for a long time. It's absolutely safe, and it's safe for diabetics. And by the way, as Dr. Oz said in the Oprah show, that when you use the Bragg apple cider vinegar, guess what? It's amazing. The glycemic index gets normal, and it's wonderful. Because, see, when you have white sugar and white bread and a lot of the wrong foods, boy, it raises your blood sugar.
It sure does. There's so many pre-diabetics, diabetes 2 people, Patricia.
It's sad, and a lot of them are losing their limbs and all. But no, stevia, I endorse it highly.
Next up, we go to Lakewood, New Jersey. Joe's turn on Coast to Coast. Hey, Joe, go ahead.
Hi, thanks for taking my call.
Sure, Joe.
Just tonight, my friend Casey was asking me, she loves her bulldog, and she wants to know if it's safe to give her bulldog apple cider vinegar.
I guess you could give your pets apple cider vinegar, Pat, can't you?
Well, you know, I hate to say it, but his voice cut up. What was the question?
He has a friend who has a bulldog and wants to give the bulldog apple cider vinegar.
Oh, yes. Listen, I've been written up in the horse magazine, the dog magazine. Yes.
There's a dog magazine?
Wonderful. Yes. And listen, guess what? If your animals, as they get older, they get stiffness, they get joints. People, when they have our drink 3 times a day, guess what? They get rid of their arthritis. It cleans out the little crystals in your body. It's amazing. Yes, you can give, say in the bulldog, they could give like 1/3 of a teaspoon in the drinking water.
What is it about the apple cider vinegar that works, Patricia? What's in there?
Well, I tell you, it's amazing. It has special natural organic acids in the apple cider vinegar that inhibits the enzymes that convert starch into sugar. In other words, see what it does. That's why people are losing weight so easily. You see, they get on the vinegar drink. We have people who have lost up to 200 pounds.
It does work. There's no doubt about that.
Amazing.
I mean, I know that firsthand.
What it does, it purifies, it cleanses, and it heals, and that's why Hippocrates, the father of medicine, used it.
I mean, I take it in the morning. I take a tablespoon in the morning. I got to tell you, that take in the morning without water, it'll knock you out.
Well, and it improves your digestion, your assimilation, and the singers, the singers, Katy Perry has our drink 3 times a day.
She's a great singer.
listen, George, she's dynamic.
Get her too for us.
Well,
I'm going to
guess
turn you
what?
into our assistant producer. You
Well,
work with
listen,
Lisa.
I bought her first guitar when she was 12.
Did you really?
Yes, I did. Just listen, get that. She has it in her living room.
You get me Katy Perry and Clint Eastwood, and I'll love you forever.
Well, gosh, that'd be wonderful, George.
Let's go next to Eric in Chicago. Go ahead, Eric. You're up with us.
Hello.
Hi.
I'm just curious about have you heard about the e-cigarettes?
One more time. I couldn't hear you.
Have you heard about the e-cigarettes?
Did you say cigarettes?
E-cigarettes.
The e-cigarettes, the electronic cigarettes.
Oh, listen.
Well, I'm not a smoker. I don't know, Pat.
No, I tell you, to be very truthful with that, we took Dick Gregory when he weighed almost 400 pounds, and guess what? He started following our fasting book and our vinegar book. He got down to 180. He stopped cold. 3 packs of cigarettes a day, 2 fifths of whiskey a day, white sugar, white bread, and he's been in 8 Boston marathons. And you know, listen, you can be strong, every one of you. Your lungs are made for oxygen, and it's bad enough that we live in a lot of pollution. But listen, if you live in L.A. or Chicago or cities where there's a lot of pollution, a lot of cars, get an air purifier for your car, please, if you're driving your car.
That's a good point.
And don't jog and walk around a lot of pollution, a street with a lot of traffic.
Patricia, how important is attitude for
My
all
dear,
this?
it can make or break you.
Yeah.
Make or break you.